fact, a day or three ago, you were writing about the reckless billionaires who got us here. Name them all. And as I recall, you named one in particular. But tell us about this. What's the story here?
You probably saw it as well, and it's someone who made so much noise last year, a guy named Bill Ackman. I mean, he was attacking people left and right, telling everyone that if Trump won, it'd be this great thing for the economy. And 2 days ago, he literally said, if Trump follows, he said, this is not what we voted for, meaning the tariff policy. And he said, and if we don't stop Trump or Trump doesn't change his mind and call a 90-day, pause, we're going to go to an economic winter, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And having kind of tolerated reading all his stuff all last year, I mean, the idea that now he's telling us this isn't what we voted for, we must stop this guy it's just outrageous. Now, I'm all about people sort of changing their minds, but we're way down the pike here. And I think the broader point is we do have to start, yes, Trump is doing so much of this, but there's so many more other people that are part of this. All the senators and members of Congress on the Republican side who are going along with it all, the billionaires who put their credibility and put money and put all sorts of muscle into having him win. And it's before the stock market went down the other day, there's so much pain people are feeling already, be it around NIH research or people being dragged off to gulags. But now that the stock prices are going down, some of them are saying, oh, how could this happen? We never could have known it. And I do think it's important to remember that all these people were part of what Trump is now doing.
Would you argue that this is the essence of Trump, that he always wanted to be genuinely rich? Now, arguably, he probably is because, he's got a crypto scam going, a couple of them actually. And he's got a social media scam going, and those two things have spun off hundreds of millions of dollars for him and his family. So I think he's now genuinely rich. And that, the Trump presidency and the Trump ambitions have always been of, by, and for the morbidly rich.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think someone just tweeted this and I retweeted. The crypto scam that is clearly was launched, I think, the day before the inauguration, that anyone can invest in his cryptocurrency right now. Apparently, he's literally gotten rid of the part of the government that polices cryptocurrency scams. It's in the wide open, but obviously it's in the wide open that it's happening, but the details are now hidden from us. I have no doubt that in the end, I mean, Trump's whole life seems to be about creating leverage to shake people down. And so when we hear about $1 million gifts to his inaugural fund that we know at least 8 years ago was a total scam, we now know that industries, companies, countries are going to be begging him to give them some waivers on tariffs. We know what he's going to ask for in exchange for that. The crypto stuff, yeah, this is I think the very constant theme has been self-enrichment. And maybe someone 8 years ago, if they had said that, people would say, well, where's the proof? We now have 8 years of seeing him behave this way. I have no doubt that there's money flowing from all of these sort of highly leveraged negotiations he's creating into not just something that in theory helps the government, but actually directly helps him.
Yeah. I'm curious, you're an astute political observer, and I have tremendous respect for your perspective. No pun on the title of your newsletter. And I'm wondering your thoughts on Elon Musk now going after Peter Navarro and calling him dumb as a bag of rocks. Basically, Elon Musk can't build Teslas without parts made in China. And
right.
And he there's a fair number of Teslas floating around Europe, and they were all made in the United States. And so Elon Musk is a big loser with regard to Trump's tariffs right now. How do you think this is all going to shake out between these guys? And frankly, with Elon Musk going down in flames in Wisconsin,
right?
I went on the air the next day and I said, I don't think you're going to see Elon Musk in the White House again. I think that's it. I think that's the end of it. And I haven't seen him back in the White House. Have you?
He hasn't been. I haven't seen him, but I also think that the two people I've almost never seen Trump criticize recently, well, one ever is Vladimir Putin.
Sure.
The other is Elon Musk. He throws people under the bus in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But Trump kind of clings to Musk somehow, and so he may not be as central, but we haven't seen him really ever go negative there, and who knows why that is. It's not for a very good reason, whatever it is.
I think it's because Musk's money is what threatens Republicans. I mean, both he and Trump have come out and said it out loud. Any Republican who goes against Trump, Musk is going to fund a primary.
Yeah, so he's his sort of right-hand weaponization of these elections. So maybe he'll be less central. But my view of this is bad. It's all terrible, right? But one thing Trump, we have to say, he did previously was he sort of created this impression effectively that, well, I'm the billionaire, but I'm the billionaire for the everyman. Okay, that was his brand. Well, the day he had Musk and Bezos and all those guys in the front row of the inauguration, and he puts Musk in charge of the government with a chainsaw, he went from being the guy who felt like the billionaire that was for the everyman, to his supporters at least, and now he's putting billionaires in charge who don't feel like that. So I think he's made a huge blunder politically. And we're already seeing, like Wisconsin you mentioned, Elon Musk is underwater in Ohio. The idea that billionaires are running things, and people just don't trust that. I don't care if you're Democrats or you're a Trump guy. The idea that billionaires are going to be deciding, how we gut the Veterans Affairs Department with a chainsaw, or go through Social Security, or go through, all this IRS and get our tax information, that just doesn't sit well with most people. So I think Trump, who was good at keeping it seem like it was just him the first 4 years, has actually made a big mistake. And perhaps they can walk it back some, but if Democrats are smart, they will remind people that, again, just look at the cabinet, it's full of billionaires. I think they've really sort of framed what they're doing in a terrible way for them. And as the economy stumbles or worse, and as cuts get made to things people care about, like Medicaid or Social Security, I think the framing that it's a bunch of billionaires doing it is really, really bad for them.
Yeah, well, one hopes, and one hopes that we will see a blue wave blowout in another, 16 months or thereabouts, or however long it is until the next election, 18, 19 months. You are the former chair of the Democratic Party in Ohio. You live in Ohio. And Ohio seems like it's a testing ground for terrible policies that then get rolled out nationwide. Like throwing people off voting rolls if they don't return a postcard. I'm wondering what's going on in Ohio politically right now that you have your eye on, that you think, A, that people should know about, and B, that might suggest future Republican trends for the rest of us.
Sure. Well, Tim Walz was here the last few days and had a huge turnout all over the state. And I don't think that just reflects what Tim Walz brings to the table. I think it reflects some energy. Huge crowd in Youngstown, big crowd in Zanesville. Tim Snyder retweeted he's from Ohio. He retweeted a picture I showed saying, if this is happening in Zanesville, something's happening. The protests in Ohio were quite large. And we have a big governor's race. There's a woman who people know well in Ohio named Amy Acton running. She's the Democrat. And the guy running on the Republican side, who I think will be the candidate, is Vivek Ramaswamy. So yet another billionaire who was the co-leader of Doge for like 12 hours, trying to parachute into Ohio and do what the billionaires want to do. I think if we continue to have sort of a billionaire fatigue, Vivek Ramaswamy could be the kind of candidate that gives us a huge opportunity against someone who's a doctor, not a politician. So I think there could be some real opportunities. The one thing I would say all over the country, and this is true of protests as well as running, we've got to make sure we are recruiting to run everywhere.
Yes.
It can't just be that we run in half the districts that we feel pretty good about and leave the other half for the extremists to do whatever they want and never facing accountability.
Yeah.
In many of these states, the policies they're pushing, like voucherizing everything, if we run well, turn out to be really unpopular. And if they're attacking Social Security, Medicaid, while inflation goes up and the stocks drop, hurting everyone's pensions, there should be a candidate running everywhere on those issues. And that's how I think, that's how you take a state like Ohio or other states that have been going the other way. You got to bring accountability everywhere to build the kind of wave that gives you a chance to win in a year like next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. David Pepper, check out his newsletter, Pepperspectives. You can find it at davidpepper.substack.com. It's absolutely free. And you got to subscribe. It's just an amazing newsletter. David, thank you so much for dropping by. It's always great talking with you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I always appreciate it.